So we are going to see a couple of concepts in ES6. So what are all those concepts we are going to learn in ES6 and what makes ES6 more powerful, and then why we are using all these things in a Node and Express and React and Angular. Okay, let me go through one by one. So what is ES6? First of all, so what is an ES6? ES6 is nothing but JavaScript extension. So in 1990s it came JavaScript, but after this there is no improvement in JavaScript. From that time onwards till 2000, 2012 to 11, 11 to 12, we don't have any improvement. Whatever the language they have written, that only we are using. But later they also thought like let's improve our JavaScript more, make, because JavaScript is a powerful and they want to make it more powerful. Okay, so that's reason ES6 came into picture. So what we are going to call this, see what is the ES6 and ES5. So we're going to call this one as ECMA script. So whatever the JavaScript we are going to write, that we are going to call as the ECMAScript 5. In this we are going to write all the code. So normally we are going to call it as ECMAScript 6, ES6 or JavaScript latest version JavaScript 6. So what we are going to learn in this. So what all the improvements came into picture. So when the improvements came into picture is they have, see, we have a couple of improvements. The first one we are going to call is a variable side. So we have variable called var in JavaScript. That's it. So we have a couple of problems with variable hoisting and variables like local scoping and global scoping. And like this, we have function scope. Like this, couple of things are came into picture. To overcome the situation, so what is the problem here? So if you create a variable, you are using your browser memory. If you are creating a variable, that variable is going to be there till end of the program. Is it necessary? Is it useful? Sometimes we don't need to use those things. And we are wasting the browser memory, browser information, browser things. So to overcome the situation, JavaScript came up with a concept called let and constant. Okay, so like how other programming languages have constant, so that once we declare a constant, the data will be there. We can't modify. And then came up with a concept that is called let. So let is going to be a block scope. So I'll go through all those things. Okay, I'm just telling you. And then we have two more important features which we are going to discuss are going to be arrow functions. Okay, so whatever function we are writing, function named of braces, so to that is a normal function. So for this function we have an advanced function that is called arrow function. And then we came up with a concept called classes. So JavaScript ES6 came up with a concept of classes which we don't have in JavaScript till now. What we have seen, JavaScript is object based programming language. We have a just function and we have object. And here to coming to the year 6, it came with a concept that is called classes. So we can write classes also in JavaScript 6, means year 6. So by using those things only, React and Angular became more powerful and we are going to use those things. And we have a couple of other things like default parameters and those things, but main things are going to be, these are the four concepts we are going to learn in this class. So let's see one by one. So what is the let and what is a constant? Okay, there are a couple of spread operator. So like this, we have couple of things also. Okay, let's go. So our browser sometimes won't support ES6. So that's reason. Let's go to the ES6 browser. Let's use JS Fiddle, which will be a good version to use ES6. Okay. So this JS Fiddle is the tool which we are going to use mainly to execute HTML, CSS, JavaScript in one place, and we can see output also. Okay. So here I am going to see JavaScript. Here you can see JavaScript. JavaScript it supports. Okay. We are going to use JavaScript. No library, no JS. Okay. So let's try to see what we are going to have here. So what is the difference between let and var? So var is a function scope. Whenever you have created a variable that will be live in a function. So I'm just writing a variable over here. I'm just writing a simple function. Okay, what I'm doing is var a equal to what I can do is for I equal to where I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and console log of I. I'm calling this ABC function. If I run this function, if you go to the console, you can see the output. And then what I'm doing here is after this for loop, what I'm doing is I'm trying to console dot log of I value after loop. Okay, let me execute it. So what you are seeing, what is I value now here? What is I value? You can see I value as 10. Okay, so you have a variable. Okay, no, 1 to 9 you can see, and 10 you can see. You have a for loop. In this for loop, you have defined a variable, and you are doing all these operations. After these operations, so you don't need this for I value. After this, you don't need a I value, but still it is there in the memory. If you try to create a one more variable, it will be overwrite or something will happen. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to do a let. See here, what is the output you're seeing? Uncaught reference error, I is not defined. So see the previous output here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 9, and you can see the I value as 10. But if you see the output here, 0 to 9 is printing normally. After this, what is happening? Uncaught reference error, I is not defined. So what happens here? So in ES6, it came up with a concept that is called block level scoping. So when you create a variable, okay, that variable will be live inside the block. So what is a block? It may be function, or it may be for loop, it may be if loop, it may be any loop. If you are keeping a set of statements in a block, that variable will be live from there to end of this block. After this, it won't care. Suppose if you give var, what is going to happen? This will be, suppose its function is going to have lot of things which is happening inside. So as of now, I have written only 4 lines. But if you're writing around 50 to 100 lines of function, you created a variable. So maybe we need to create hundred and hundreds of variables. So you're creating, every time you're creating variable. So what is happening? Those all variables will be in the memory itself, wasting your browser's memory, and maybe we may forget sometimes, and those won't be useful. Somewhere it will be causing the program execution failure. So that's reason this JavaScript ES6 came up with a good feature. So now you won't get this feature, but when you're executing, you'll get these examples. Why is when we create a React applications or Angular applications, as of now, these are all like single page applications. Means like one page we are doing. But when you come to the when we try to execute a programs, okay, so we will try to create programs like one single page application without refreshing the page. You are going to continue with the around 100 to 200 pages. At the time you are creating one variable, that variable won't be exhausted, that variable won't be deleted until unless you close the browser. So you are wasting lot of memory of your browser creating n number of variables, which is unnecessary. That's reason came up with the concept of let. So let, the simple difference between variable and let is a block scope, variable is a function scope. Okay. Any doubts here? Any doubts? Okay. So that is the concept. So these variable lets are we are going to use continuously in our programs one after other. Okay, when we are going to React and Angular, so maximum we'll use let only. We won't use any variable when we are trying to implement our programs. Okay. Now, what is the next thing? Next thing we are going to see, that is const I. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I equal console.log of I value I equal to 20. Let me execute this one. See what it is showing here, uncaught syntax error, missing initializer in constant. So whenever you are writing a constant keyword, you have to initialize, means you need to make sure some value for it, and that value is not going to be modified in the whole program. So how we are having a constants in other programming language, JavaScript also came up with this concept. It is not going to change. You have to initialize it. If you're not initializing, it won't take. Okay, so that's the reason you're seeing what you're seeing, missing initialization in the const declaration. Suppose simple example, this is a var. If I execute, will I get this error? You won't get an error. You see value is undefined because I value is not there. Okay, now let make it as const, and now you will see an error, missing initialization in the constant declaration. So now I am going to initialize I value to 0 or I value to 10 and execute it. So what you are seeing, what you are seeing, I value became 10 at the time of declaring constant value, but second time in the sixth line when you try to execute, what you are seeing, see here, go to the output, see what it is saying, I value is equal to 10. What is showing, type error, assignment of constant variable. So whenever you declare a constant, you can't modify it. So these things we are going to use in the programming lab. Suppose if you want to, if someone was, some person coming and wanted to change the data, he can't modify it. In the program, we are using a variable. Simple example, we need to use pi value. Pi value changes. Pi value, what is the pi value? We'll provide 3.14. Will this value change in your program at any point of time? It won't change. So where we are going to use all these type of constants. So simple example, you wanted to define months and days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So do these things we can make it as constant because these value changes at any point of time. These values won't change. Months won't change, days won't change. Okay, these values won't be changed at any point of time. Okay, that's reason we are going to use them in a constant manner, so that the data is not going to change at any point of time. Okay, got it? Fine. Next thing. So next thing what we are going to see here is, we are going to see the concept of classes. So what is a class in JavaScript? Okay, so how we are defining classes in C++ and Java, the same way we are going to use classes here in ES6. Okay, we are going to see classes in ES6. Okay, so I have not went to the arrow functions. Once the classes is done, we'll go to the arrow functions. Okay, we'll go to the arrow functions. Now, what is the class? So unlike other programming languages, okay, unlike other programming languages, classes are same. Like you have an, so you classes are like, is the main classes and objects. You're seeing a classes and object. So classes are normally what we say about class. So have you seen about classes in your career? So what is a class in what you can say? Uh, Class is not collection of object. Okay, class is not a collection of object. Objects are creating with class. Okay, so classes and objects are nothing but, so when you are defining something, okay, in object oriented programming language, if you go, classes is nothing but an blueprint. Okay, so simple example I'll tell you. So you have an apartment. So if you see big builders and everyone, they are constructing an apartment. So they won't construct an apartment. What they will give, they will, in the beginning of the construction of an apartment itself, so around 150 floors, 30 floors apartment they are constructing, and they have big builders they're constructing, they won't give you any view for you. What they will give, they'll give just a blueprint. Blueprint means they will create a plan. So this is the plan we are going to construct. Okay, this is the plan we are going to construct, and then based on this plan we are going to start a building constructor. Okay, so like this, if you see monthly malls, and if you see any monthly construction, if you see Hiranal construction, what are the construction, the markets, if you see in the starting of the construction itself, half of the flats are getting over. So how they are getting over, they'll give a plan. Okay, simply so they'll give a 2 BHK plan normally. Okay, see here, they'll create a plan like this. They won't give the output for you. So what we are seeing, we are just seeing this plan, and this is suitable for our my needs or not. Okay, this is suitable for my needs or not. You are analyzing this thing. Okay, and then what you will tell, okay, this is the bedroom, this is the living, this is dining and master and everything. So now what will happen, this constructor, he will give you this as a reference, and then he will start construction, and then he will create final things for you. Now what is happening here, you are taking, there are 5 persons who are taking the same 2 BHK or 3 BHK apartment. Okay, so everyone have their own needs. Okay, constructor what he will give, he will give a flat for you. Okay, at the end of the construction, he will give flat. Suppose in the middle also, if you need to modify some interior work, or if you need to add some add-ons or everything, what you can do? You can just add everything to this apartment. How you can add? Based on this blueprint, you can modify the blueprint, or you can able to add some extra features. Suppose if you see, there is a living room, there is a kitchen, there is a master room, there is a normal bedroom, and there is a master bedroom. So now there is a living room, so you don't want this living to and everything, the sofa, this construction, you don't want this wall or something. What you can do, you can remove it, or else you need to have some extra space or extra division over here. You can have one more division to make sure those are different. So what you're trying to do, there is a blueprint. So class is nothing but a blueprint. So how you wanted to create a multiple objects? Okay, it's just a blueprint to create multiple objects. And then why class makes this much difference? Because when you are creating class, when you created a class, the blueprint is created. Now when you are creating an object, there you are privileged to add few more features. So classes are objects are nothing but class is an blueprint, and object is an output of a class. Object is an execution of a class. You understood or not? Any questions over here? Class is nothing but a blueprint where you what is going to construct for everyone, and objects are nothing but the final output. So once the building construction is over, if you go and see, everyone flat is going to be same. No, they are going to do their own modifications by the time of completion. So what they're doing an extra functionality, or they're doing extra things to their object. So object is going to be the final output, and class is going to be just blueprint. So where what are all the things has to be there. So some set of rules and regulations, set of items which are there will be in the class. Okay, suppose in an object, when the object is creative, what this guy will tell is like, I don't want this deviation, I don't want a couple of deviation, I just need everything hall to be, living room should be big. So what they'll do, there will be couple of options we have provided in the class. What he will do, he will just remove those things. Give me 1 minute. So here classes are like a blueprint where you have all the structure, what has to be created, and object is going to be the output and execution block, or the clear output of an class. Got it? So this concept came into ES6. Okay, so those things in JavaScript, we just create an object, you can't create a class and everything. But here you can create a class, and based on this class we can create object. Okay, let's see how to create a. Hello, can you hear me now? So now let's create a class, same what we have discussed 2BHK as an example. The same concept we'll try to create as a object model. Okay, now I'm going to create a 2BHK class. So when you are creating a 2BHK class, in this we are going to have a constructor. So what is a constructor? Why we need a constructor. Okay, constructor is the concept which is going to execute as soon as a class is called or else an object is created. Okay, you don't need to do so. I'll give an example. So whenever you are creating an object, those are going to be default behavior. Okay, simple example, you are going to create a 2 BHK. So what will be there, the default things, what is going to be happen for a 2 BHK? You are going to have two bath, two bedrooms, and you are going to have a kitchen, you are going to have a living room. These are all the default behaviors. Okay, so in unlike other programming languages, JavaScript won't support constructor, multiple constructors, or constructor with different parameters. In JavaScript, at any point of time, we are going to have only one constructor. Okay, only one constructor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a constructor with a, here the constructor name is constructor itself. If you see in other programming languages, okay, so class of name of the constructor is the class name, but here in JavaScript, name of the constructor is constructor only. So what I'm going to do, this dot 1 BHK first room, yes, this dot second room, yes. So I'm trying to add here, I'm creating couple of, what I'm doing, I'm creating couple of basic parameters for this 2 BHK. So we have two bedrooms and we have a this dot kitchen equal to S, this dot hall equal to yes. So now, so what I'm doing is console dot log of 2 BHK. Okay, so this I'm going to provide as of now. So now what I'm trying to do here is I have created a simple 2 BHK and I have created a, now suppose I want to create a first floor. Okay, I want to create a first floor. So what I'll do, first floor equal to new BHK. Okay, new BHK. I've created new BHK, correct? Now I'll print console dot log of first floor day, first floor plan equal to plan, first room, first dot first floor dot if I execute this thing, okay, this is a string, correct? String we need to give in double quotation, else it treats as a variable. So now if I execute, what you can see, first floor plan, first room is S. So like this, you can add all your plan. Hmm. Okay, see here what I'm going to do. If I execute this thing, so you are going to take a flat in this apartment. So for everyone in the flat, these are all the default behavior. First room, second room, kitchen and hall. So this is a class and you are creating a number of objects. So now when he is constructing the first floor, he will reference to this 2 BHK and he'll see, okay, he started the constructor and these are all the default behavior. He started to construct and he'll give it to you. That's it. Now where this class is going to be more useful. So now what I am going to do here is, okay, suppose we are going to provide some additions to this apartment. Okay, we are going to provide some additions. So what I'm going to do here is, for this 2 BHK, what we are going to use, like add balcony. Okay, add balcony. So in this we are going to write a function. Add balcony functions we are going to write. So in this what we are trying to do, this dot balcony equal to yes. Okay, now see here what is going to happen in this situation. If the person is rich, if you want to improve his apartment with the, he's having some extra money, he want to get a spacious apartment, he wanted to add a balcony. Okay, so first floor, the person who wanted, he don't want everything, he just created default and he is going. So his object or his flat is created, everything is done. But second floor guy, he wanted some balcony or some spaces or something he wanted, or in the first floor only side person, he needs some extra features. What he'll do, he will try to create a new apartment with the same plan. So he is going to create second or penthouse. Okay, he is going to create a new penthouse. So he's creating a new apartment over here. So when he's creating an apartment, what he'll do, penthouse dot add balcony. Suppose he paid an extra amount. Okay, suppose he paid an extra amount. What will happen? Penthouse dot add balcony will create. Got it? Add balcony is created. Now let's see. Now we will do the same console. Okay, so instead of first floor, I'll do penthouse. So now let's execute this thing. So first floor, sorry, execute. First floor plan is same and penthouse plan is same. Got it? So you are creating multiple. You have a blueprint called 2 BHK. From this, you are creating multiple objects or multiple things. When you are creating multiple things, what is happening? Everything will come. But what happened for this penthouse guy? He is looking for some extra features. What is looking? He is looking for balcony. So let's try to print balcony for these two people. Give me 1 minute. sorry for the disturbance. So for this penthouse, we'll try to add balcony. Now let's execute these things. If I execute these things, see what is happening. What is happening? Can you see the output? First floor, you can see balcony is, what is that? Undefined. There is, means there is no balcony. And if you see the penthouse, you can see a balcony. So what is this thing? So thing is like, a class is like a blueprint. So we are going to define, okay, simple example, one more example I tell you. So you have 100 people in a class. When you have 100 people in this class, okay, so if you want to calculate the, if you want to do the marks or something, okay, student 1 dot marks, student 2 dot marks, student 3 dot marks. So if you're adding like this multiple things, what happen? Suppose you need to add one more subject. Again, you need to go and modify 100 students. All those example I will tell you here. So example, so for every student, like student 1 dot max equal to 10. Student 1 dot equal to 10. 9. So like this, you're adding the marks. Suppose you want to add for student 2 and student 3, what you'll do? Student 2 dot mass equal to 10. Student 2 dot equal to 9. So when you are adding like this, how many students? Suppose as of now, think like there are 100 students. So you can add 100 like this. Suppose you have 1000 students. Is it necessary to add like this? 1000 details? No, this is very, it's going to be very big. Each and every time 1000 lines, you would have 1000 times. Instead of these things, you can just make it as a class, means you are creating a blueprint of students. You are creating a blueprint of students. And then what we are going to do, I am going to add mass constructor. What I am going to do? I am going to do this dot max equal to mass. Here you can provide. You can pass the variables mass this dot php equal to. So like this you can add whenever you want to create a student one, what we can just do, student 1 equal to new students of 10 comma 9. So you can add like this. Suppose, and you can able to access those data easily by using student dot max or student dot physics. Suppose now if you compare to the old situation, new situation, if you wanted to add a course called chemistry, what you need to go? You need to go for the 100 students or 1000 student. You need to add a student 3 dot max, student 3 dot chemistry, student 4 dot chemistry, student 5 dot chemistry. Instead of that one, what we are going to do? We are not going to do anything more thing. We just add this dot chemistry equal to, okay, and then you can just add over here. So whenever a student is creating, if you wanted to pass, you can pass, or you can create as an empty, so that the data will be undefined or empty. So what is happening here? So you are going to reduce and you can able to create a class. You can create a blueprint. By using this blueprint, you can do multiple objects without any issues. And you can able to modify them data easily. Okay, the same thing what I explained over here in the apartment concepts also. So big people, when they are constructing the big apartments, what they'll do? They'll just give a blueprint, and if you like this blueprint, you are going to purchase it, and they'll take 2 years to give an apartment for you. Just you are seeing the blueprint, you are just seeing the class, you are analyzing these things will be like this, and you are going to take it. That's it. And then they'll construct the same thing and they'll give it to you, and you are happy. So they'll be, so Like this, you can have a class. So class is nothing but set of things which can be achieved, and objects are nothing but when you created a blueprint like class. So based on this, you can create an object. If you want an extra features, you can add in that extra features as part of that object. Okay, so this concept came into picture in ES ES6. Suppose you don't want it to pass here, so what you can do is, like in the ES6 there is one more concept. Yesterday also we have seen this concept is default. Previously we have seen the default parameters. So if you want, suppose if you don't know the student 3 physics mark or student physics marks you have added recently. Okay, some persons will have, some persons don't have. So at that time you can add directly 0. If you are not passing this parameter also, by default it will take 0 and it will do. So this is going to be a concept that is called default parameters in ES6. Okay, this is the concept of classes and this is the concept of ES6. Okay, and then we are going to see one more concept that is called arrow functions. So what is an arrow function? Let's see how to write an arrow function. Okay, now let's take this same example here. I'm taking the students example. Okay, I'm taking a students class over here. I'm creating a student class. Okay, I'm just creating a constructor over here. Okay, see here what I'm doing. As of now, I'm not creating any constructor. This dot max equal to 0. You can create max equal to 0. Okay, now I'm going to create a student. Create left. Okay, and I'm going to create a new student. Let me create a constructor over here. Okay, I've created student 1 dot marks, student 2 dot marks. HS. Okay, So I have created a new student of 10 comma 9. Okay. Now if I print this one, student 1 marks is 10, maths is 10, and physics is 9. So like this you can create a number of students. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the total marks. Okay. So now here what I'm trying to do over here. Here what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to create a total equal to, okay, here this is the arrow function parameters. So I'm going to show you the example here. Example, this dot, this dot total equal to this dot mass plus this dot. So here what I'm trying to do here is mm, why it is giving an error, let me check. Let me create. So let me execute it. Okay, let me go. More example will tell you. So let me create a normal function. Function a total equal to console.log of this. Okay, function total one equal to empty function of console.log of this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is total of total one of. So what is the syntax for arrow function? So arrow function syntax is like we are going to modify arrow function by removing couple of features in arrow function. So how can you write arrow function in JavaScript is like you just remove the function name. You don't need to write the function. You can just call the function, and instead of this writing this braces and writing this like this, what you can do is like you can provide the arrows double parameters, the what you can solve parentheses over here if you wanted to pass some value. If you really don't want to pass the value, you can just remove them also. You don't need to worry about this. And then this is the block structure. So this is the way you can write arrow function. Suppose this is a single line, correct? You don't need to write the data. So what we can do is we can just remove these things and you can write everything in a single line. Okay, but function you can't do like this. You can't remove the parameters. Okay, this is the shorthand operator for the function is the first thing. There is a second example also, second feature also. So this is the first feature. So what is the feature? You don't need to write everything in a block. You can just write, this is like a shorthand operator. You can write a simple function in single line itself. You don't need to write multiple lines providing the braces and everything. So here you can see you have, it's taking 3 lines to write a function, but here you're taking only 1 line to the write a function. Now let's try to execute this program. See here, you can see window operator. Okay, window operator. So what is this window operator? Okay, how it is going to work? So in this arrow function, the best concept here is example idle over here, this dot a equal to 10. Okay, and here also this dot a equal to. So what happened to this keyword? So there is a difference between arrow function and a normal function. So you are not seeing this example, but when we go to the ES6, when we are coming to the next step, we are going to learn React. At the time, I'll give you the clear example. What is the difference? So what happens to this keyword in the arrow function? First example is like you can shorten the function, you can remove the function name, and you don't need to write the braces. You can remove and you can write a function in single line. And the second thing is when you're writing an arrow function, what happens is this keyword you are seeing correct here. This keyword takes its parent automatically. Okay, this keyword takes this parent automatically. Okay, but when you're writing a function, okay, when you're writing a function, this keyword belongs to the current function. So as of now you won't see the clear example over here, but when I go to the what do you say, after Node.js we are going to the React. In this React I can show you the clear example what is the difference between arrow function and a normal function. Okay, so but I'm telling you the thing over here. So when we come to the arrow function and a normal function, when you come to the normal function, this keyword belongs to the only this function. Okay, this keyword belongs to only this function. But when you come to this arrow function, what happens is like this keyword refers to its parent. As of now, this here you won't see the difference, because as of now total this dot a means 10. So this function also refers to the window object, and this function also, here also this refer to the window object. So you won't see the much difference. But when you go to the React, okay, there we are going to see what is the difference between these two. Okay, so you need to understand the concept here. In arrow function, this keyword refers to its parent, and in a normal function in JavaScript, this keyword refers to the current JavaScript function. That is the difference. Okay, you got it. Any questions over here? I'll explain you with the example of this keyword in the arrow functions in the React session, which we are going to start after Node.js. Okay. So these are all the new features and functionalities which came in the ES6. There are a couple of features. Those are like normal. You also can learn those features easily. But these are all the main key features came in ES6. With these key features only, we are going to write React, Angular, and Node.js, all the concept. Okay. Now, so let's go to the Node.js. What is a Node.js? See, till now, whatever we have seen, that is JavaScript, pure JavaScript. Where you are doing this thing, you are executing your JavaScript in the client machine or client browser. It may be Chrome, it may be Mozilla. So what is happening? You are downloading the code, JavaScript code, and you are executing. So you are exposing your JavaScript code to everyone. So anyone who are you are writing, what are the JavaScript, what are the HTML, what are CS, everything can be seen by anyone if he opens the website. Okay. This is the, because this is a client side programming language, that is the default behavior of JavaScript. Okay. Then what is this Node.js? As I told you, we have, before going to this one, I want to tell you about the browsers. Okay, you have to know what is a JavaScript engine. JavaScript engine is a set of rules and regulations, and based on this set of rules and regulations, each and every browser created their own engine to execute JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript engine, they have a couple of stacks and queues and everything. So whenever you write a program, it is executing step by step. Okay, whenever you're writing a program, it will execute step by step and it will give you the output. So to write, to execute those things, so normally if you go to the C, Java, C++, you need to install some runtime environment. So you need to install Turbo C or Java 1.8 version or Java 1.9 version. Whatever the version you have to install in your local machine, and then only your Java program is executing. Okay, give me 1 minute. sorry guys. So each and every browser, there is a set of rules to execute JavaScript. Okay, so how the JavaScript engine works? So first thing, so you know how the JavaScript engine works? So JavaScript engine is divided into multiple things. Okay, first one is the stack. JavaScript is a single thread architecture. As I told you, JavaScript is a single thread architecture because you are executing in your browser. So it is executing line by line. So this is a, what is the stack? What is the meaning of stack? Can you tell me what is the meaning of stack and what is the meaning of queue? What is the meaning of stack and what is the meaning of queue? Tell me guys. Queue is first in, first out. Okay. So let's see. Okay. This is the stack and this is a queue. Okay. So how JavaScript programs works in any browser. Okay. JavaScript is a single thread architecture. So only single threads are going to execute. In a thread, one after other, one after other. Once one application is finished, one we have written a var a. Simple example, if you see this var a, once this var a is executed, then only it will go to the this console. Once it is executed, it will go to this thing. Once this is executed, it will go to the next thing. Okay, like this program executes one after other. Now, but is it a right architecture? This is the right architecture, but the problem is whenever a program is executing, you may need to call database or you may need to call some third-party service. You may need to call some other thing. You need to wait for some time. Am I correct or not? You need to wait for some time. It may be 5 seconds, it may be 10 seconds, it may be 1 minute, it may be 5 minutes. You need to wait. Okay, but JavaScript is a single thread. So suppose if a operation is happening, it need to execute for, it need to go for 10 minutes or to execute for 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, don't be there. It need to wait for 2 minutes, it need to wait for 3 minutes. What happens? The next lines of code won't be executed. Correct. The next line of code is going to be executed. So how to overcome this situation? So for this reason, JavaScript came up with a concept with single thread. Even in a single thread, they have concept of asynchronous. So what is synchronous and what is asynchronous? Synchronous is nothing but line by line execution or one after other execution. So that once one execution is completed, then only it will go for next line. This is going to call as synchronous, like following one after other, one after other. What is an asynchronous? Asynchronous is nothing but you are calling multiple things at a time. Okay, you are calling multiple things at a time. So you can execute multiple lines of code at same point of time. That is called asynchronous. Okay, synchronous is nothing but suppose you call a JavaScript request from a database or server, it need to wait for 1 minute or 2 minutes. Until unless 2 minutes, it won't execute any JavaScript in your application. Once the response came, it will give. Suppose some issue happened at the server side and that response is not giving. What happens? You are blocked. Your program won't execute. But asynchronous is nothing but, suppose you are calling a database request, it will call the database request and it will go, the database request will go continuously and your necklines will be executed continuously. Once the database request comes, it will give you the output. Okay, so this is the concept of synchronous and asynchronous. Okay, now JavaScript designed with single threaded architecture, but it has an capacity to do asynchronous operations. So where these asynchronous operations are going to be doing a concept that is called web APIs, that we are going to call as web APIs. So in this web APIs, suppose there is a blocking code is coming or database requests are coming or any timeouts are coming. So I'll tell you an example. So there are three types. One is the blocking code, which is like input output operations, like you're calling a server or database connections. Or one more thing is like you can call a set timeout, which will wait for a couple of seconds and it will execute. Okay, so I'll show you the example. Okay, so what happens is like in this stack, whenever you have a variable a, okay, it will come to here var a I equal to 10. It will comes here and it will execute and it will move out of the stack. Okay, now this is a console.log. It will remove and it will be console.log. It will come and execute. And if you see console.log, it will come and execute console.log function increment of. I'll tell about this function as of now. But here you can see console.log of till 14 it is going to execute. Now what I said, there is a function, okay, there is a function that is called set timeout. Okay, set timeout. So what are these functions? Whenever you have defined a function, these will be in a compilation. When we are doing a compilation, these will be stored in the memory. This function will be stored in the memory. This function will be stored in the memory. So you don't need to worry about this one. After 14th line, it will come to the 29th line. Because these are all stored in memory. It will come to the 29th line. So what is happening here? There is a set timeout. So then it will come here. Whenever there is a set timeout method, what happens in JavaScript is this is an blocking code or asynchronous operation. What happens is like this set timeout will be moved. It won't execute in the stack. Means it won't execute as of now. What happens is this set timeout will go to the web API. The set timeout will go to the web API. It won't execute. Where it comes to the web APIs. So what happens? The set timeout won't execute as of now. It comes over here. What increment. So what this is going to do? So as soon as it moved to here, it will go to the 31st line. And then there is one more set timeout. One more set timeout will come and one more set timeout, whatever it came, it comes here. And it came to web APIs. So here this web APIs is going to execute as well as what is the next line? I++. So I also will get execute now and console will be executed now. Parallelly, what happens is like here the set timeout function is called correct. Now what is happening here? There is a set timeout. What is the set timeout function usage is like? It need to wait for number of milliseconds. So here you have provided 5000 milliseconds, correct? Here 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second in JavaScript. Here 5000 means 5 seconds. So what it will do is, this set mode function, what it will do is, it will wait for 5 seconds. Once 5 seconds is over, what happens is, like, whatever the actual function you are calling increment, correct? Increment will comes to here. It moves to the queue. Okay, here you need to understand, it will come to the stack first. If there is an asynchronous operation, it will go to the web APIs. Okay, and this web APIs will go continuously parallelly execution. Once the response comes, it will move to the queue. Okay, once it moved to the queue, what we are going to have? We are going to have increment over here. Okay, we have an increment function over here. So now what is going to happen? Still it won't execute it in the output. So then when it will be executed, we have a concept in JavaScript that is called event loop. So what event loop main work is, event loop executes continuously. Every second it will execute, every fraction of second it will execute. What event loop main work is, event loop main work is, it is going to check the stack. Whenever a stack is empty, then this event loop will take this event from here to the stack. Here to the stack. Okay, this is the work of event loop. So that's reason what happens is, like, you don't have any blockages in the program. So web APIs will go continuously, your program will go continuously. Once you got the response from web APIs, it will come back to the stack. And what is the stack work? It will check any blockage code. Now increment of function, there is no any blockage of code. It will execute. Okay, and you can see the output. Let's see the program execution for this. So here is the simple example. I have a I value is 10. Console.log of I value. I am printing the I value. I am incrementing I value by 1. So what is the I value now? 11. Okay. These are all the function definitions. It is not going to execute. Now I have a set timeout function. As soon as set timeout function comes, what happens? This execution will move to the web APIs. And there is one more set timeout, it will move to the web APIs. It need to wait for 5 seconds. Now, what is the I value? 11. I value increment to 1. What is the end of the JavaScript? I value became 12. But our JavaScript program not yet completed. It is executing some data in the background. After 5 seconds, that is completed. So after 5 seconds, this increment function will execute. What is the I value as of now? It is 12. Now I value incremented to 1. What is I value? 13. I value inside increment after 5 seconds, I value became 13. After the I value increment 1, what is I value? Became 14. Let's execute this program. See here what is happening. When I refresh, see the output, what is happening. After 5 seconds, it is, let me modify it to 10 seconds. One function, let me modify it to 10 seconds. So see here what I'm doing. I am refreshing the application. Okay. At the end of the JavaScript, I value is 12. And see after 5 seconds, increment value after 5 seconds is 13, not 15. Sorry. Here, increment will 1 will execute after 5 seconds. Increment will execute after 5 seconds. Increment 1 will execute after 10 seconds. See here, increment 5 seconds after increment is 13. After 5 seconds, I value inside increment after the increment 1 is 14 seconds. So what is happening here? So there is a JavaScript is not going to stop your program execution even you have some blockage code. It need to wait for 5 minutes. So till that 5 minutes, if it is a, even it is a line by line execution, these lines are stopping execution. No, these lines are executed completely. These lines got executed completely. And at that time, once this executed stack is free, till 4 seconds stack is free. When this output came, when this increment came, our stack is empty. So that's reason it is trying to get this data and printing. Okay, you got it. Any questions over here? This is how a JavaScript engine works. Any questions here? So what happened next? So every browser is implemented, okay, this technology in their browser machines, okay, in their browser machines. So everyone calling their own names. So let's see JavaScript engines in different browsers. Let's go to the wiki and we can wiki or somewhere. See here. So JavaScript engines V8. Okay, everywhere you may be hearing the V8. So V8 engine created by the Google for its Chrome browser. So as of now, you're using Chrome browser, correct? In this Chrome browser, there is a V8 engine. Okay, so that is mainly to execute our JavaScript lines of code. Okay, same like this. If you see other browsers vendors need to over-interpret compile. Apple developed their Nitro engine. So you have a Safari browser, correct? For this Safari browser, they have created a Nitro engine to execute your JavaScript. Okay, and then Mozilla created their own engine called SpiderMonkey. Okay, so like this, everyone created their own browsers. Okay, everyone created their own browsers to execute JavaScript in their browsers. Okay, now once they're developing browsers engines, okay, so what Google thought is like, so as of now JavaScript is more powerful, why can't we develop JavaScript in the server side also? That's reason JavaScript, okay, that's reason JavaScript engine, V8 engine, they have implemented with few more features with the basic JavaScript engine, and there they made as a server side. So JavaScript, by using this V8 engine, Node.js became popular. So what is the Node.js? Node.js allows you to run JavaScript in the server side. Okay, as of now, you are executing JavaScript in your local browser. But Google created a V8 engine, and based on this V8 engine, it created a server called Node.js. By using this Node.js, you can create JavaScript applications or you can execute JavaScript on server side. Got it? Okay. Now, so how this Node.js is going to execute? how this Node.js is going to execute. Okay, as I said, Node.js and JavaScript, Node.js. Node.js built on top of JavaScript engine. So the same way how the single thread operations are happening in JavaScript, same way it happens in Node.js. Then how multiple requests, suppose at a time you are sending 1,000 requests to Node.js server, how those are going to handle? How those are going to handle? Okay, how those are going to handle? So for this, V8 engine created a compiler called just-in-time compiler. Okay, just-in-time compiler. So what happens for this one is, okay, whenever a request comes to the Node.js, whenever a request comes to the Node.js, what happens is Node.js will take that request and it will empty the thread. It will just take the request, it will empty the thread. Okay, I'll give a simple example to make it clear. Have you seen in the hotels? If you go to the hotels, what is going to happen? You are going to have a 20 chairs. Okay, there is one kitchen and you don't have 20 waiters over there. Am I correct or not? You don't have 20 waiters. You'll be having 3 or 4 waiters. The same concept, I'll give an example here. So when you think like here, 20 chairs are going to be 20 requests and kitchen is going to be the server. And here if you see there are 3 waiters, think like there are 3 threads. What is going to happen? Now, so what is going to happen here? Whenever a customer places a request, okay, what he will do? He will just place a request, he'll give an order to the waiter. What waiter is going to do is waiter is going to the kitchen until unless that dish is prepared, he is going to stay there. No. What happening here? When the request made by the customer, he'll take the request and he'll give it to the kitchen. And he comes back. Immediately he'll come back and he'll try for some other work. Is anyone is ordering the food or something, he will see. Or else, now there is a second customer came. He again placed an order. Immediately he'll take the order and he'll go to the kitchen and he'll give the order. And at that time the thread is free, means that waiter is free. What he'll do? He will check in the server, he'll check in the kitchen, is there any completed dishes? Is there any completed dishes? If any dish is completed, what he'll do? He will take the dish and he'll keep in the first table or 10th table or 15th table. So what here is doing? Here we're doing, there is a single waiter, but he's not waiting continuously. He's just taking a request from the client and giving to the server. And until unless server gives the response, until unless the kitchen gives the dish, he won't care about it. He will take one more request or one more response and will handle. So same like this, our Node.js also works. So how this works with the concepts of callbacks. So how we are identifying here with the table number and the dish name, there it identifies with the callbacks. Callbacks mean once a function is completed, which one I need to call, that is called callback. Okay, so regarding this callbacks and regarding this Node.js and Express.js, so we are going to see Node and Express.js and this callbacks with the examples we are going to see in the next session. Okay, meanwhile you can go and see what is the concepts of Node.js, how Node.js server is working, what is the ES6 features and what is the JavaScript engine. So understand and analyze how things are happening with Node.js and Express.js and JavaScript engine. In the next class, what we are going to see? We are going to see the Express.js and Node.js with how callbacks, how Node.js and Express.js are working in the server side with callbacks. Okay. Any questions till now? Okay, this is today's class with your introduction to Node and ES6 features. Next class we are going to see Node.js, Express.js and everything. Yes, we need to install Node.js. If you are using Windows, what you can do is like install Node.js in your server, in your local machine. From Node.js, you can download this version. You can download this and you can install it. Okay, I'll tell you those things in next class.